Welcome back to Santan Solar, your one-stop shop for all your solar needs. Today we're going to be talking about the best battery settings and how to hook up your 6000 XP to your LLS battery. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Santan Solar. Today we're going to go over the battery connections and how to hook them up to the inverter and the best settings when you have your battery connected. So let's get into it. So starting off with our battery, we're going to be hooking up on our positive and our negative side into the inverter itself. If you have more than one battery, you're going to want to make sure your dip switches are in the correct orientation. On screen now is going to be what a picture of this one is. This is in the first position, and then also another screenshot of all the different positions that are possible depending on how many batteries you have and which battery you have. Of course, if you have the LLS batteries like this or the wall mount batteries, they're going to be the same, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, but you cannot mix a LLS with a wall mounted battery. So when turning on the battery, you're going to be pressing this button in, making sure this LCD comes on and your lights come on. Make sure this alarm goes off. If it stays on, then check the battery for any fault codes. And we're going to turn on our breaker here. And make sure to wear some gloves, preferably some rubber gloves. These are actually just normal garden gloves. Perfect. So our battery is at 92%. So that's good. All our connections are good. We'll talk about the communication cable in just a second. So I'll actually unplug this for right now, just so we can see. And before we connect it, let's check our voltage on our battery to make sure we're good to go. So let's test our voltage for the battery itself. Make sure I'm using the Klein Tools CL390. Make sure you're on the right setting. So I'm going to be on DC on the voltage here. Voltage, and you hit your select button for your AC or your DC. We'll put it over here. So I'm getting about 53.2 volts. And let me try and get you that. So I got my 53.2 volts right there. So we are good to go. Let's turn it off. All right, so let's plug this guy in. You don't need to use this connector. I just use this for testing purposes, so I can just keep my battery plugged in if I'm testing another inverter. Most of the time, if you have a normal system that you're using for an off-grid setup, you're going to want a direct connection with some 1 gauge wire. Perfect. And then I'll show a close-up of the battery connections right here. So what we're going to do next, now we have the battery connected to our inverter. What you want to do is turn on the battery and turn on our LCD screen. So the best settings for the LLS battery is, of course, if you're using a EG4 battery, on the maintenance tab and the monitoring system, you're going to see battery is about halfway down. And in the battery section, you're going to see a battery type, and the battery code. Specifically with the EG4, you're going to use code 0. It's going to say 0-EG4, and you're going to use the lithium ion battery setting. The reason that is because with the EG4 systems, the lithium setting means it's going to be a closed loop communication. So that means we're going to be using a communication cable for the battery to the inverter. So then we can see the SOC, or state of charge, on our system through the monitoring system and the LCD screen. If we're going to be using lead acid mode, you're not going to be able to see state of charge or SOC. You're only going to be able to see the voltage of your battery bank, whether if you have one battery or 20 batteries, right? You're only going to be able to see the voltage, which is okay, that's fine. On screen now is going to be a battery chart of what batteries are compatible with the EG4 systems, what codes to use on the EG4 systems, and that link to the PDF will be in the description below. So just look at that. Perfect. So finishing setting up the inverter here, we have everything good to go. We have our battery breaker on, we have our power switch on, everything's going to go. Let's connect our communication cable. So on my communication cable, you'll plug it into the battery COM port, which will be on screen now as a close-up, and you're going to go into the CAN port on the battery. This will ensure that your battery will be able to be connected to the inverter. And as we're doing this, you can also check the Wi-Fi dongle now. We do have another Wi-Fi dongle video in the description below. It might be up here, I don't know yet. But you can check that out. It was on how to set up the dongle. But at this point, you would want the dongle already set up as long as the battery's on and the inverter's on, just so we can start that monitoring through your mobile device, or you can start it through a PC as well.